short one.
It
Oh,
was.
sure. I think that caught you all by surprise. We're expecting another 10 seconds. Good evening. Everybody in the chat, thank you for joining us and welcome to episode 51 of our DSMC Sunday Night Live chat. This week, fortunate enough to be joined by Laz from Lazi Collectables.
Good evening.
Gary from Gremlin's Model Making. Phil from Yorkies Diecast. Bryan from Bryan's Model Workshop. And of course, Moz from MOS6510 Models. Good evening to you all, lads. Good to see everybody. We may have Luke back. We'll see. I'm told he's got a new phone, so through Bryan, he's spoken to Bryan. Anyway, so welcome along. Quick update before we start, and then we'll get straight into this week's topic and go around the houses, see what everybody's been doing. So, quick update on Martin's charity. We have now reached £400 in just over a week. Well, has it been just over a fortnight?
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So, on behalf of the family, on behalf of us, thank you to everybody who's donated. We will be closing the link off at the end of March. So if you wish to donate, you can find a link on our Facebook group to Martin's charity, or you can go to I'll put it. There's a link in the chat, I believe, in the description of the video. So I will check for that. Right. This week we're kind of trying to normalise things a little bit and get back to winning ways. We're going to be talking about dioramas. Should be an interesting one. We went through the questions on Wednesday night. Sorry if I'm a bit throaty. So I can do that. But first of all, we'll go around the houses and see what everybody's been up to. So we'll start with Laz. You're on first. Laz, what you been up to,
mate? Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I've been... I'm highlighted.
Oh, well.
I completed the Dinky Toys Transit Run, which is on the channel. And these are new paints I find, so I'm quite happy with that.
Very nice.
So this is one, and I've just done two just out of the channel. One is the ex-Fire Chief, and I turned it into a polystar. I put some decals on. And the Matchbox Volkswagen Transporter, the ambulance, I turned into an SO lorry or whatever is it, and I changed the wheels. These are, I think, Hot Wheels. So I think this is my third time doing this one. Well, I said I'll do something different. And I've got a Dinky Toys Dodge truck on the go, and the Matchbox luxury coach, the little one.
Yeah.
And what else? Oh, I've got the old Mercedes 190E, and I painted it with a new paint I find from this range. And this is metallic aluminium, and it looks fantastic. It looks really, I think if you're gonna see it, it looks really period correct. I think that color.
Excellent.
So I'm quite pleased with that one. And that's me.
Okay. I think Gary was on next. Been up to, Gary?
Evening, all even, PJ. Right, I've still been... We've still been working on the Wessex. As the tail's on, all of the markings are now on to the main bodywork. I've got a few aerials to put on before I start tackling the rotors.
Looks nice, that, mate. That's good.
Yeah. That's about it.
Jokey. That's Gary. Phil, any new items, purchases, etc., etc.?
Yep. Hey up, everyone. I've got a few Hot Wheels turned up this week. Got the 2026. Oh, where are we? There we go. Honda Civic.
Nice.
Can you get that? The latest Ford Sierra as well, the pink one. We got that.
Well, I like the car. I like everything about it. It's the colour, isn't it?
I know, but that's what this latest. I think
that's what they're in demand for, I guess.
Is it the E-Cat that's out at the minute? I managed to pick up a red edition Ford Escort.
Oh, no, that's nice. That is nice. That's like Mexico,
and a couple of American import Civics.
Very nice.
Pretty cool. Just trying to miss the light, but yeah.
A lot of wheels on them.
That's pretty much it for me this week.
Alrighty, I like that Escort. Escort's a belter. Right, Bryan.
Much the same as Phil. A few Hot Wheels have come in, but mostly this week, as some of you aware, went back down to Martin's, got some more bits and pieces. But the Hot Wheels I got a couple of Datsuns or Nissans, 240Z.
Nice.
And that one, which is the Nissan Z. But if you look, it's actually the same colour scheme. There we go.
Brian's backwards. I think that's better.
There you go. The same colour scheme with about, 35, 40 years apart. So there's those two. And then the other two were a Ferrari 365. Nice one, that one. And a Volvo drift wagon.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
I've seen this one. Yeah, I've seen this one.
What sort of price are they?
Currently 149 was in Aldi. Which I don't think is too bad at all. I mean, various places. So you've got, I think, Home Bargains are doing them at about 179. The dearest place I've seen them has been Morrison's, and they were 240, but they're long cards. But generally speaking, anywhere between sort of 150 and 179 is probably the ballpark figure at the moment.
I would buy the long card ones.
Yeah, but honestly, the Aldi's your best bet, because the thing is, you can. I mean, the other day I was after those minis, and they just put out a box, and I got me 3 minis out of one box. So if you just happen to be in there when they're putting them out, the chances are you're going to get a few nice finds. Yeah. But it's a bit hit and miss at the moment with Aldi, because obviously Christmas is gone. But yeah, that's been pretty much it, other than sorting bits and pieces out.
Yeah, okay, thanks, mate. Moss.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, so this week I've spent a bit of money this week, which I've basically I'm spending to. What's that noise? I'm spending to create content on my channel. So at the moment, you would notice that there's a video online about the Tamiya work stand with magnifying glass, which I think I paid £79 for from Taglam. I've done a review on it, and if you watch the video, you'll see my comments on there. Most definitely, my thoughts on that. Very, very expensive for what it is, but by and by. Also, I've got a couple of videos going live. I finally got round to doing the hand boost knife, Sonic, the Sonic knife.
Yeah.
Which I know you and Bryan have watched and give me feedback on.
Yeah.
Again, it's expensive. Excuse me, sorry. It's the expense. Who's making a noise? Sorry, it's coming loud on my speaker.
Shuffle you get, yeah.
All right.
I think there's somebody shuffling boxes about.
It's the expense of it. So because it's a new product, these are like about £150 or $150, which in liters is, was it £120? Personally, they do have a use. Is it a big use for 3D resin and for scale modelers? I don't think the price justifies you buying one. If you carve wood or if you're doing leather and you're using it a lot, you'll find a use for this. But they say it cuts paper, but I can assure you, I wouldn't use this cutting decals. The safest way to cut decals is a pair of £8 scissors, which nurses use with the bull nose ends. If you go on Amazon, the company called MJW, I think you can get them for between about £5 and £8. And because they're designed for medical, they've got to cut sharp first. They've got to cut first off. These are perfect for cutting decals with. So yeah, that video's going out live probably Thursday. I've been given this kit, which I've reviewed, and it's going out probably Tuesday now, on the Neverland Hobby Wolf SSA, which is a G-Wagon, but it's, bulletproof, bomb-proof, wife-proof. She could reverse that and there won't be a scratch on it, if you know what I mean. So that's going out on Tuesday, probably, or Thursday, one of those. But Revell for years have been hammered for reboxing models of age and not telling people about it on their boxes. And I think this is one of the first in line. They've come up with the name, which is very familiar, of another model company. They're now called Revell Classics, and I've bought 3 of the 4 models that are now classed as Revell Classics. You can see they've got a new branding as well. There's a new branding for Revell on top, and these are now called Revell Classics. So you got the vintage classics from Airfix. They've gone with Revell Classics, and I've got the Tiro. These, by the way, are all Matchbox kits. Okay, so and this is what I don't understand. It's like, are they going to be reboxing Matchbox kits as Revell Classics, or will they also be boxing old tooling as Revell Classics? I think they need to make that distinction. Personally, I think they do. So if it's if you can show that that it is a Matchbox Classic or a Revell Classic, if you know what I mean. But they can't use the name Matchbox, obviously, because that's owned by what was it? Is it or Mattel, like that, isn't it? Matchbox. So I got this one, the Tyrrell P34-2. This is bog standard beauty of Matchbox. That one. I also got hold of the Surtees TS1603. Now I remember this being blue. I'm sure it was blue, but we've gone for red. And also this one here, which is this is a classic. The Porsche
the darkest version of that.
Yeah. So I'm going to be unboxing these in the next few days and doing a review on them. And I was very, very happy with them. Other than
What's the price on them, Moz?
I think they work out around 15 to 16 quid each.
It's not too
Um,
bad, is it?
Let me just have a quick look again at the Jadlam site a minute. Yeah, Jadlam pricing. Let's just have a quick look for. Let's look at Porsche. POR Porsche Revell. It's not on their website at the moment, so I don't know where that is. So it must be a new thing. Let me just try this other
Yeah,
company.
get back to you on it, don't worry.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on that. But just one thing was, unless anybody's missed the video, I finally finished last week the Jag Panther Marder 1. So that's now on a
Very
3D
nice.
base, which was kindly printed by His Highness there, PJ. He printed this off for me, and what I've done is I've glued it on, and I want to start using this oval shaped kind of base for them all, because I think they look really pretty on there. It really does set the scene. And if you notice, I haven't sprayed it all black. I sprayed on the top black and just left it, but I've tried to give it a little bit of texture by just leaving some of the actual resin showing through on the side, just to give it a little bit of distinction. So yeah, that's me all done. That is the Tamiya Model 1 in 1/35 scale. So yeah, that's pretty much me. And apart from I'm just in the process of building the 148 Crusader Mark III British cruiser tank. This is as far as I've got with it. Just built it, black based it. So yeah, and that will go alongside the Cromwell that I built and on a base. I'm not showing this now because of the subject matter that we're using later.
Yeah.
So and it's just basically a 3D printed thing from 3D Gizmo. I can't recommend them highly enough. These diorama bases from 3D Gizmo. They're not on his website, but if you do go to a model show and they're there, I recommend you grab one. And they're they're really expensive as well. I think they're about £12 or something. But yeah, so that's my Cromwell. All done there, mate. So anyway, enough.
Moz,
Yeah, my friend.
the Revell Vintage, are they going to be initially just cars, or are they going to go throughout the range? Will it be tanks and planes and everything?
I'm under the impression, and I will double check with Luke from Revell. I think the original, the boxings they're bringing out now for the Revell Classics are going to be Matchbox.
Okay.
So anything that's Matchbox.
Okay.
So if they bring out the PK701, which is the motorbikes,
yeah,
they will now be called Revell Classics. I'm not too sure whether whether they're going to stick with Matchbox right the way through. Also, they do put the date on on here now. I think they've got the date of when they were first manufactured somewhere. So yeah, it was trademarked for 2025. It doesn't actually say, but they are made in Poland. These ones,
wow. Okay.
They are Poland, but I don't think it says 1972.
Because Matchbox had quite a range of cars, didn't they? Because I can remember they having sort of 50s and 60s race cars like the Auto Unions and things like that.
Yes, I agree. Yeah,
okay.
They did. But it's. I think they need to. I think they're just trying to be honest.
Yeah, it's great.
And that's
great
a good thing.
The castings have not been lost.
These cars are 1799. So
right.
The Porsche 917 is 1799. That's good value for
that's
that.
the Le Mans one, isn't it?
This is the Can-Am Racing Series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is the one that they led, which they won the world title 2 years in a row.
Okay.
Thanks to Roger Penske team. But I can't see the date. I thought they were going to put the date of when these toolings were manufactured. but I can't see it on the box, which is very unfortunate because I really believe that they should be doing that. But obviously they've
Maybe
not.
maybe on the leaflet inside.
They should be on the box when this tooling was made. Because on Airfix it says, doesn't it, that tooling 1969, decal scheme, pack design 2026.
Yeah.
And, I think they led the way. Hella do the same as well. They have a little sprue gate, little sprue tree with a date in it, like the year of production, year of when they first tooled it. I think it's wise that they do that, but I cannot see on the box when they
Right. Well,
did it.
come back to that. Himself, I'm currently looking to build the Batman tumbler. One of these.
Probably make it as well. Make the parts.
By the way, it's going. Yeah, I made most of the parts. It's this is a hatchet. Hatchet part works that I purchased, and I had a session. Where I built 30 issues back to back, and I'm getting on really well. And then I had an accident and broke some parts. So, with that being said, I've been working with Michael from the Michael Hogg, our mate who likes to do a bit of 3D printing, to create some replacement parts. So we're now able. Let me just bring this on screen because it's quite small. Okay. Parts like this with a circle on, with his area on support with the circle on top. They snapped off. They're very brittle. These are, but I'm now able to, thanks to a process me and Michael went through of taking an image and convert it into a 3D part. I've got some replacement parts, so did that, and then we took it one stage. Excuse me. We took it one stage further, where one of the things that always goes missing is Robin from the '66 Batmobile, and now we can print Robin from the '66 Batmobile, and we've also had a go at doing Batman as well. So again, it's another one of these projects that we're working on that if we can crack it, we're quite happy to share it with the community. So that'll be something for us going forward. So the process is that you can take an image of anything, upload it to an AI development package, and it will convert it into a 3D file for you. And you can print it off. And it's proved very successful. If you've seen some of the figurines that Michael's done, they are absolutely superb. So he did things like did Martin's picture of Martin, an image of Martin, which come out really well. Russ. The Robin came out slightly better than the Batman. I think Batman had a couple of burgers too many because he put a bit of weight on. So that's a work in progress. No rush. We can have a play and we'll get them tidied up. That's me. We've got the SWAT event, the Swaddling Coat Town Hall event coming up on the 28th of March, where the ball covers will be together presenting a live event show here in South Derbyshire with lots of visitors coming up, we hope. We will be selling some second-hand projects with the money going towards charity. So there's that to look forward to. We've got some stalls and guests. We'll be doing some demos. I'm probably showing some videos in the background. So that's all to come on the 28th between 9 and 2. If you're interested, it's at Swaddling Coat Town Hall in South Derbyshire. Come and join us. You'll be made most welcome. I think that ties these up, all the loose ends. So, right.
Just before we start, PJ, one last thing. Moz, that Matchbox original 917 was 1974.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's early 70s,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
but we were told that they would be putting. What was it? 1974.
Yeah. The first tooling of it on Matchbox was 1974.
Yeah. The only date they put on this is 1972, but that is in the history of the actual car.
Yeah, I think that's when the first car first appeared. Yeah.
Yeah, when it first appeared, it's not the date of when it was first tooled, which is a real pity because I remember we were told that they would be doing that. But see, like the 30s one, that's 1974 car, but it's not tool. They did not mention the date of the tooling on here. I'm just looking now just to make sure, and I can't see it. Very, very sad that. Disappointed, to be fair.
Sorry, PJ.
Alrighty. If anybody wants to jump out and say who wants to go first, there's no particular order. Has anybody, what has inspired you to start making? You've got to have made one, obviously. So, you know, what inspired you to make a diorama for a restored diecast core or a model kit if you've in fact done one? So, was it one particular model that you wanted to think, oh, this will look good against a diorama, or one particular restoration, or something along them lines? Probably Moz and Gary have done the bulk of these, I think it's fair to say. So what inspired you to do your first diorama, boy?
If I go first, then first one I had done was for a B17 group build. Now the B17 on the cutting mat or things just looks boring. So to give it a bit more context, animation, I decided to get a vehicle set that matched the kit. Then I searched around, got some figures, found a base, and assembled the relevant parts in the relevant places, and that actually got published on a B17 group on the internet.
Ah, okay. Oh, I can hear my phone ringing in the background. I know it's my mother.
Mother, come in, mother. I started to put models into competitions, and I noticed that the winners were always a model on some sort of base. I do not like building dioramas. I really don't. I think I like building the model. So, and I have done in the past, got a lovely lady to build the diorama around my models for me. You know, and I've just supplied her with all the equipment and she goes and does it for me. I just don't, for me, it's all about the build of the model. But I have noticed that if the model's on some sort of plinth or platform, it gives it some, it does give it some life. So I can't deny that it does make the model look good. You know, case in point, you know, if you look at the Cromwell, and all I did was I 3D printed the base, and I black pasted it, and then I went over it with a stony green color, so it looks like the tank is driven onto the stone from a dirty place. So it
Yeah.
gives it a visual. Obviously, they don't judge the base; they judge the model. But I've done judging as well, and your eye does get.
Let me just mute. Brian's.
But your eye does get fixed on something that's raised, like you know, you're on a pedestal, and that's why I did that. It's on a pedestal.
Yeah, yeah.
But other than that, dioramas, the best dioramas in the world are the railway guys,
Yeah.
you know. And Mr. Waterman produced some amazing hits with Kylie Minogue and all those bands that he had back in the day, Dead and Alive, when he was with Stockakin and Waterman. But he can
Yeah.
also build dioramas.
He's a big.
You see, that's the funniest thing is that the train guys, they buy their models and then build the diorama. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But us, but we build the models, and then I'd rather pay for a diorama base. You can buy them now. You can buy diorama bases.
Yeah.
Create. So yeah, there's that involved as well. So yeah, I get it. But that's it's and as I said, don't get me wrong, I've built dioramas. I used to build, I built trains. So yeah, so when you think of it that way, they're taking shortcuts by buying the rolling stock already, with lights and all the noises. But if you put that train on a track, it would look crap. So you then got to learn how to do grass, how to do trees, how to paint figures, and and even so, that's why Oxford Diecast was so big, was that they did that 00 gauge size vehicle so that the train guys could have the 1930s, 1940s vehicles without having to build them. So yeah, swings and roundabouts, really, gents, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's what the occasion. I mean, when we do our monthly challenge, it's what the challenge is asking you to do. Because we did a scrapyard challenge where Martin did this fabulous scrap minis garage,
Yeah.
and he put a lot of work into it. I mean, I know he even did ones on coasters. Tea coasters. There's a term for it, which the name escapes me. Gary, I think you
vignette.
Yeah. But what I like to see with the plastic kit boys is when they buy a box that's got a picture on the front of it that determines a point. Well, not determines, but kind of suggests a point in time, if you see what I mean, and where the location was. It might be a French farm, or it might be a bridge, or something along them lines. And then they sometimes they'll recreate it to look like the box art, and I think that was fabulous. There's some cracking dioramas that are done out there.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And I think that's it. Diorama tells a story, where a vignette, it's a scene, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Phil, Bryan, Laz, anybody done diorama that links to? Go on, Bryan. Just mute yourself, mate. No, we lost your sound. There you go.
Hi. Yeah. I came to it in a roundabout way, and Moz is dead right about the trains. I had a train set, and I started making Airfix models, and then I got hold of the RAF refueling kit, which I think was in 176 scale, and there was the emergency set as well. And so what I did on part of the railway, I actually had part of an airfield. So I put those models on that, because at that point it was quite difficult to get hold of vehicles for your model railway, because that would have been 45, 50 years ago. So that's my experience of dioramas. And then just recently, obviously, I did an AA one for a friend. But yeah, I think if you've got the right bits and pieces, you can come up with a lovely diorama. And it doesn't have to. I don't know what Moz feels on it. I don't think it has to be historically accurate. It just as long as it evokes a feel.
Yeah, it's also cautious. It doesn't. If there's historical dioramas, but equally last night, John Atwell had showed us his shelves where he stocked a load of garages on top of each other.
Yeah.
And the garages look fantastic. They're
Yeah, they
like
did.
the old BP Matchbox garages. And we lit them all up, and I thought they looked great as well. Equally, it's what you're trying to get out of it, I guess. Yeah. Laz, did a diorama before?
Yes, I did try to do one. I did buy the grass, the trees and everything. This was back in 1996, when I used to build the plastic kit models. And I used to buy the magazine as well, modeling magazine and stuff like that. And I really liked the dioramas, the figures, the scenery and everything. I said, oh, you know what? I have a couple of cars. I don't know. I had the Renault Alpine A110 and MGB Citroen 2CV. So these 60, 70 cars. And I said, I'll make a diorama. Never done it. I tried the grass, I tried to put the grass on. I think I didn't have the patience. So
Yeah.
I never done a diorama. But what I used to have is, you remember Lego had these square plates with a road on it, so you could build, on both sides of the road. You
Yeah.
remember Lego had these? So I had a few of those.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to put them together. I used to build, Lego building shops and stuff like that. That was my diorama.
I mean, they are. When you think about it, now, we never mentioned this because we went over these questions the other night. I never even thought of that. Lego is kind of one of the first dioramas that you build. You never think of it at the time, but you're building little houses, little cafes, castles, that kind of thing.
I had flowers and trees, from Lego.
Yeah.
So I made a park because I had some green one as well. So I made a park. I put blue, Lego panels down, and I made a lake.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've done stuff like this. I had the fire station, the police station. I had a civilian house. So I really liked Lego. So I tried to make different buildings with different Lego. I had a lot of Lego bits.
Yeah.
So I just built something out of my head. And I was imagining that is a radio station.
Sorry. When we first started doing the channels, we'd build ourselves little sets so that we could just take a picture of the car before and after we built it, and put them in front of garages and things like that.
Yes.
Just so they could roll into the garage, and yeah. Absolutely. Phil?
I've never built one. It's not something that I'm actually drawn to. However, I do have an A4 plywood base that I kind of sprinkled a bit of. It was actually fish tank gravel on it. Sprayed it green, and if you remember the old Britain's farmyard kits, they have fencing and dry stone walls, which I kind of got hold of some of that, and I built it round this little A4 piece of wood, if you want, and put my model on it. Used my photography skills with the aperture to throw it out of focus behind the model, and kind of got away with it that way.
Yeah.
I think that's what you call forced perspective. Making sort of slightly out of focus at the background gives it depth.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the one that I wanted to do. Well, I wanted to buy this actually, but I wasn't paying ridiculous prices for it. The BP Garage.
Oh yeah, nice.
So there's a website that you can go on to. In fact, I've got the dimensions if anybody wants them. So this is all made out of MDF or hardboard, whatever you like. Some clear plastic, stickers. I have got the banner for the top that Laz kindly sent me. In actual fact, I'll grab it because if I don't show you,
I've got a question that might throw you then, PJ.
yeah, mate.
When does your garage stop being a model garage and becomes a diorama?
Well, yeah.
See, that for me is a vignette. That is
Yeah.
a diorama. That's a vignette.
Well, I mean, if I was to set the pumps on fire, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, it becomes a diorama. You know, if I've got ambulances coming in from the side, that kind of thing. But all this was like you said, you quite right to point out, was I'm not disputing that, a vignette. But again, it's something that a scratch built or something that the railway builders would do as well.
I mean,
just a way of displaying. I think we've got an MLN garage knocking about somewhere as well. And you could put them next to each other. So it was almost like, you know, if you go down to Sainsbury's, Hot Wheels are selling sections of the city that you can build your own city up. So yeah, I was doing that kind of scaled scratch building in conjunction with building add-on city builds. So you could build your own little town, like so.
yeah.
It was good though.
I suppose it opens up a debate as to whether a diorama is more than just terrain.
Yeah.
Did you get seascapes with chips on?
Yeah. I mean, you also get the castings. Sorry, where they do resin. So you got like an underwater, you know, submarine.
Yeah.
It's in the sea, or it's you know, they put tanks upside down in water and that kind of thing, or the effect of. And I think they look really good.
Yeah, because someone in my model club, he's done a submarine. He's attached two torpedoes, sort of just away from the bow of the sub, with like the bubbles in resin, sort of thing. He's hoping they'll survive when he casts it into the resin.
Yeah.
So it'd be like an underwater ski with the torpedoes being fired from the submarine.
Oh, there's some fabulous builders out there.
I do like the resin deals when they paint it blue and they put the model in and then they put the resin on. I love that.
Alrighty. Do you design the diorama around the subject matter, car, plane, or do you choose the subject matter to fit the diorama idea? I thought this was
you wouldn't put a modern day Ford Escort or Ford Sierra in a 1930s diorama, would you? So obviously you've got to shrink down. If and also how you weather it. You know, I'll build a model up and then in clean, and I put it on a base, and then from that point, then I decide on whether it's going to be a muddy track, it's going to be a sandy track, is it going to be in the desert, and by then you would then decide on whether you would weather that model to dust. You wouldn't have it on a dusty base, and and have mud everywhere, and you wouldn't have it on a dirt track and have little pockets of sand everywhere. Do you know what I mean? You've got to, yeah. At the end of the day, you're trying to tell a story, aren't you? You're trying to evoke emotion so that you become attached to what you're looking at, like with all art pieces, which is why I'm telling people that scale modeling is an art and diecast is a hobby. So
I suppose with that, not necessarily that BP garage, but the MLM offices I've got, it could fit any car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's just somebody pulling up to an office block or up to a garage. Whereas, like I said, if you're doing something like a French farm field, it's got to fit a certain, vehicle or a beach or something along them lines. Like it's no good having wire and fences and all that on the beach. If you're doing the bond bug or something ridiculous like that, the thing doesn't fit the vehicle.
I will say that, being impartial here as much as I can, there's nothing more glorious than seeing a die-cast car in a garage. There's just something about it being in a garage. A little bit of oil staining on the floor, because classic cars would be in a garage. They're not parked outside in the road, are they? They're in a shed, protected. And if you're Chris Evans, the cars are on white carpet as well, aren't they? You can see if anything's leaking from them. It's I love a die-cast car in a garage. I'm surprised that the 3D guys here don't just keep on printing. Oh, it's Bryan gone? Bless him, he'll be back in a minute. Why they don't print themselves out garages to spray up and ramps and stuff. I think that is the most glorious thing I've seen die-cast is in a garage. No need for grass, just in a garage. That just brings emotion to me.
Yeah, you could probably do something like a three-sided cutout sort of thing.
Yes.
A wall, side wall, maybe some tools hung on it, and maybe a garage door and the car in the middle.
Got multiple things going on there. What's going on there? We'll just remove that one. If you go off track, just rejoin, Bryan. Okay.
That's better. Thank you. I just got locked up completely. Sorry.
That's all right. How do you decide? Any thoughts? I'm sorry, Gary. Any thoughts on how do you design the diorama around the car, or?
Well, it all depends. As I say, it all depends where you want to depict the actual model, and it's basically most kits come in maybe 2-3 schemes, and so you pick a scheme. Then you think, right, where would I like? Right, that's in say North Africa, 1942. What would be atypical for North Africa in 1942?
Yeah,
sort of thing. I've got an idea. I've got an idea in my head. I've got some American Gulf War planes, and I've also got an American Gulf War tank. So I'm thinking of doing a bit of a forward operating base with the tanks sort of just rolling past while the aircraft are just stood there.
Yeah.
So it would need like a sandy base.
Yeah. Well, we've looked at making 3D accessories, haven't we? Most, the sandbags and stuff like that too.
Yeah, I've sold a few on Vinted. I've sprayed them up. Haven't I? They're not just.
Yeah.
I've become the. I've become Britons. I have. When it comes to the figures, they're all painted up. I'm doing that. So. Yeah.
But, I mean, that's opened up we'll perhaps come on to that a bit later, but that's opened up an all new world. That has.
When you get the stuff to print, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even the base.
Laz, Bryan, Phil, anything to add on?
Not really. I think the model dictates the diorama. I don't think it comes the other way around.
No.
I agree with most.
Unless you're trying to reproduce one from Back to the Future.
Yeah. That'd be interesting. DeLorean next to, say, a 50s Plymouth.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Some scenes will fit a car. I mean, if you parked outside a castle is a castle is a castle. A car is a car is a car. The two don't go wrong together. But you would like to try and think you kind of the subject matter's close. All right, question 3. How do you decide on the scale and proportions for each scene? I think it's going to be, well, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, really. Surely, if your scale is on the side of your box, or the scale of the vehicle on that one, and you're going to build accordingly. Sometimes you've got to do a bit of measuring to, it's no good having a
Remember, if you remember with a diorama, you can also have it three-dimensional, where you can have it add height. So if you've got something flying over something, if the thing that's flying over is in big, the things you're putting below are going to be smaller.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Height perspective.
Great depth as well.
Yeah. See, that's what people forget. It's not just width and length. Sometimes it's height as well.
Yeah. 3-dimensional.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's just something, a platform to enhance your model or your diecast car. It's not that imperative to me. It could just be a road with a bit of a grass mound or something like that. So you could get away with the same diorama for a 1 in 43 as you could in a 1 in 64. It's not too important to me, but yeah, I guess to the model kit builders it's important because it'll form part of the competition entry. Even though it's not judged on the diorama, it still needs to enhance the model and make it look realistic.
Yeah.
I think like Fraser Martin, where he's got like 3 or 4 different dioramas that he uses for different types of cars. So, like if it's a sports car, 2-seater sports car, it's going over a humpback. He's got a humpback bridge, or a corner of a little bit of track that he reuses to display the. So it might be. I mean, certainly for our die-cast cars, it might be worth creating sort of 2 or 3 different types of scenes. So outside a set of shops, by an old garage, on a track, that kind of thing. You could do and just interchange them. I don't think you'd need to build dioramas for every single car.
Yeah. And Phil, with you doing all the digital stuff, what you could do is maybe do a virtual diorama on a computer, then add in your model.
Yeah. I think Andy was doing that, wasn't he? Andy Bourne, he was taking a picture of his latest restoration before he restored it, and then put it in a certain digitalized background.
To be honest, you can actually use your TV screen as the background if you're clever enough.
Yeah, or even a little tablet site like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, tablets are a mainstay now, isn't it? Because the bevels around the edge of an iPad now are so slim. I've seen it done where they've had they put a background up of a sky and put a plane in front of it, and if you get it right, you're golden.
Yeah,
needs to be a big screen
now. Do you sketch or digitally plan your dioramas before building? So if you've got, again, predominantly the boys, the plastic kit boys, do you have an idea? Do you take it from the box art? Do you get something on an encyclopedia? You do Google search it? Or do you just think, I have a building there, a building there, and a building in the other place?
I throw as much shit at it until it looks right. I don't plan nothing.
Right.
And I don't think you can. I think you can visualize. So say I'm going to build this plane in a hangar and it's going to have an engine change in your mind. But what you create will look like it will be a hangar and a plane with an engine being changed. I don't think some people might do it. I certainly don't. And as I said, I don't do anything that takes away from the model. I just try to put it on some sort of plinth pedestal so that it gets seen.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not, it's kind of on, you're doing it on the fly, really. Just chuck it at the wall, see what fits, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as
Gary?
most know, Airfix did like the D-Day beachhead and things like that, didn't they? Sort of things where they actually cut. You got vehicles, you got
Mm.
a base, you got some of them had a plane and things like that in it.
Yeah. Mine was when I did that BP garage, it was already sketched out because it was a plan. So he was able to go in and find the BP garage planned out. So I just downloaded it and cut it out and then painted it. So that wasn't rocket science. How do you balance realism against a theme style? So I guess do you want it to look like that box art or like you say a bit of realism like the World War II scenes, or do you just want a fixed item that you can swap in, swap out again? It saves you some time and effort, I guess, like we do with the cars. Laz, you do like me. You've just done a fixed piece, really, and swap things in and out.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just save time.
Yeah,
Anybody else?
I prefer the original parts rather than, or even 3D printed parts, but not that one, the one I used to buy.
Yeah.
I don't want to give a negative advertisement. And I just wanted to say I did agree with most, but I didn't get the
Sorry, apologies.
chance
Sorry,
to say
mate. Go back.
that I agree with most. I do love a die-cast car in a garage or garage.
Yeah, garage. Yeah.
Garage.
I remember Martin done a scenery of a small town, and he was putting his buildings, putting the lights inside the buildings, and done a garage, and he put the the car he just restored front of that garage, and I do like a scene of a town.
Yeah, there's a guy called David who's got a YouTube channel. I'm sure it's called Diecast Movies, and he's got the old Matchbox, effectively figure of 8 track. And what he did do was to create some buildings. Well, he created a small town. So if you liked his channel enough and gave some shout outs, he'd put your name on one of the buildings of the town, and it was really good. He was having like cops chasing robbers, or a day
Is it
out with a caravan, that kind of thing on this
is it a
Matchbox.
step motion? Is it a step motion video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He stopped for a while, but I think he's back now. And he'd intersperse it with adverts from the Times. So if he was doing a 60s car, he'd find some old 60s advertising clips of American cars, muscle cars, and scatter them into the video. Like, it was brilliant how he did it. Any more on balancing realism with theme style or anything on?
I think you can get hung up. You with the diorama side of things. I think you might be sort of veering towards the rivet counting with your diorama. I think as long as it evokes what you want it to evoke, I don't think it has to be historically accurate. To be perfectly honest, like's been said before. You don't want a Pagani Zonda in front of a 1940s racetrack. Yeah, I get that, but equally, you could get away with a new car on an old racetrack if it was just part of the track. But yeah, I think as long as you're happy, ultimately with all these things, you've just got to be happy with it. If you're happy with it, it doesn't matter about anyone else.
I'm just trying to think of that racetrack that you can pay for it. Is it in Germany?
Nürburgring.
Nürburgring, yeah. I mean that's 50s, I guess, when it was built initially. But you look at it now, and it looks like a scene from Fallout 4. Like, you know, there's nature's pulling it back, but you can still run a new car on there.
Well, you think about the Goodwood curves in Surrey, where lots of part of that gone back to nature in places.
Yeah.
Hockenheim was the other one that I think you're possibly thinking of, PJ, because the bit where it went off into the forest has been reclaimed by the forest, because they've made the Hockenheim ring much smaller. So the old bit where it went right through the forest is now forest again.
Yeah. Same with Spa. You need to go through the Ardennes.
So what have we got here from John? John is asking, what about if you're doing a diorama for a Spitfire airplane? How would you do the sky, Gary Moss, for 1/72nd scale?
Right. This is where you're going to have to start being creative. You're going to need basically to mount the Spitfire on clear rod of a particular strength, probably something like about 3 or 4 mil clear rod, so it's actually in the air. Predict it wheels up, put a pilot in, then you basically paint the base to be like a sort of a sky scene, so you're literally flying over clouds or something like that.
Yeah. You don't want to seem like the Gone Wrong comedy series, like where it's planes flying upside down on a, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, because you could basically, like as you say about Spitfire, you could have a Spitfire either chasing or being chased in a sky scene.
Yeah.
Depending on how big the base you want to make.
They used to call them plates, didn't they? The backgrounds, photographic backgrounds.
Yeah.
But isn't that how 50s and 60s kids shows in TV and all that? That's how they were done anyway, isn't it?
Well, you think about it. Star Trek: Next Generation. You sit in Picard's ready room and you've got the space scene over his shoulder, and that's a curtain rolling with the stars on it.
Yeah.
I watched the making of Red Dwarf not so long ago, and a lot of their scenes were done in similar studios with backdrops and strings and pulleys and all sorts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all done. As I say, it's all moving backgrounds. The vehicle, it's to give motion.
Yeah. But look what you could get away with when you say that about like having a background on two rollers, you know, moving along like. Now, if you're doing something like the Enterprise, you can have monitors and assign videos, or to each of them monitors, because it's only effectively a computer screen. Put 6 of them together, 6 different videos on there, and you've got a control board, like, you know.
Well, the problem in the past, if they tried to do it to a film background, the actual frame rate of you get flicker, wouldn't you? But that doesn't happen now.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the best one I've ever seen is Disney's The Vault. If you like your Marvel movies and stuff like that, have a look at the making of, and they've got this process called the Vault, and it's I don't know, a 50-foot circle with a surround, similar surround, and they can match anything that you put in the circle to the surround. So if they've got mountains showing on the projecting screens behind the circle, they blend the two together and the actors feel like they're actually in that scene with those buildings and whatever. Like where usually the CGI would be added after the movie, and you played about in a green suit, standing up and down and jumping on boxes. But now they dress the set and match it to this fantastic 360-degree display, and it looks like they think they're actually in that part of the world or planet or whatever it may be.
Can I just show what I meant by clear rod? That's basically, if I do it like that, that's basically 3mm clear perspex rod that you can cut to length.
Yeah.
So basically, it blends in.
Yeah. Fishing line. It's a good one.
Yeah, if you hang it something from above, yeah.
Yeah. Translucent fishing.
You know what though? There's an art to that with the fishing line, because you've got to put it in the right place, haven't you?
Yeah.
Because if not, it'll be like this or like this. You know what I mean? It's all about the balance, whether it's a tail sitter. Obviously when I was a kid, you would end up I would tie loops around the tail, one around the tail, two around the edge of the wings, to make it like a pyramid tripod of string, and then hang that off a hook.
Yeah, I used to glue mine, glue it to it.
Yeah, Ian saying Jerry Anderson was way ahead of his time and has some superb background technicians working at AP Films. Then throughout the 60s, so quite right, mate. Yeah.
If you're interested in that sort of thing, there's a YouTube channel called AP Films, and they show little documentaries. There must be about 60 or 70 of them up there at the moment, where they show how they filmed, like the explosions, how they filmed, planes taking off, cars driving down roads and things. And like you say, it was all on rollers, and it's really, really clever, because the guy that did the bulk of the effects for Jerry Anderson was a guy called Derek Meddings, who actually went on to be the chief technician on all the Bond movies.
And other films.
Yeah, but predominantly, Bond.
And
that's where you cut his teeth.
If you also look for a company called is it Weta or Zeta? Anyway, it's a company in New Zealand who've taken over doing the backgrounds for the modern day Thunderbird series. And they've actually still got the practical sets, even though the figures have been digitized. So you've got digital figures against a practical background.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is reversed everything these days.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, sorry, PJ, need to go. Need to take the latest down. And anyway, I need to go to bed. I'll wake up tomorrow early. So I'll see you next week. Yeah.
Cheers, lads.
Yeah, buddy.
Take care, guys, and bye everybody in the chat as well. So cheers, guys. Bye. Good night.
See you, lads.
Bye-bye.
So Nigel saying, I'm no bad with Diorama, but might try doing one when the Speedway ride is finished. Yeah, our friend Nigel is doing a superb Speedway from a fair. It's going to be great to see it when it's done. Yeah, backgrounds like that, a park background where you got your fair, you get your Speedway in the park. You're on a grass common, that kind of thing. Roll around box there. What's going on? Right.
Your microphone close to your desk, Brian.
Yeah, it's just muted stuff. That's fine. What's your go-to? I'll talk about some painting techniques here. Then Gary Moss, what's your go-to method for creating realistic weathering and aging effects without giving too many secrets away, as Moss didn't want to do the other night?
as I was saying, it's doing it in context of what you're doing. If you started a kit, if it's all, as I say, with what I was saying, if it's going to be a muddy field, like for a tank, you mud up the wheels, you mud up the tracks, stuff like that.
Is there a particular company that you go to for weathering products?
Oh, that's like saying how long's a piece of string. There's loads of companies out there. It's a case of what you get. The particular person gets used to using. As I say, there's stuff out there you can go to. We can go to the model railway people, get nick some of their like their gravels, their sands, and bit of grasses. We can sort of then we add them into bits and pieces and dirty them up a bit by adding into mud and making them mud bases. You get mud. You get actually mud in a pot now that you can put on bases, stuff like that. So you push your model in, so it looks like, and you push your push your tank tracks in. It looks like it's digging into the mud. So then you weather up the wheels to match what you've done, with either by paint or by weathering products.
Yeah, when I was looking at doing a couple of bases, Citadel do technical paints, so it might be gooey blood or like a cement, a hardened material that looks like cement when you put it on the base, or mud or rust or panel blacking, that kind of thing. They do a good range. Moz, any thoughts on? Is there any particular company you use, or
What for when I'm doing weathering and stuff?
whether
Yeah,
use the same kind of materials again and again, that kind of thing?
Yeah, obviously, I've really got into the weathering side with powders, and I kind of used to bite my tongue at Humbro, but I was given a set of weathering powders from them, and I was absolutely blown away on how well they work. My only real worry was how you would fix that weathering once it was done, and I realised after watching numerous YouTube videos that you could use this stuff here called Pigment Fixer by Ammo by Meg, which you then just dollop on the powders after and let it dry, and it fixes them. But my main go-to is this. And if you remember it, this is what your granny used to use in the 70s. They've never changed the design of the can either. It's the insect hairspray.
Yeah.
And so I spray the model with that. I put the powders on dry, spray the model with that, and then I build up the layers. And it does work.
You may have just solved the problem I've got with a base I'm building.
Yeah, she's got that.
Effectively acting as a lacquer or sealing it.
Gives it tackiness as well. And you can, if you want, you can brush it in wet, like I did with the Marder, or you leave it to dry and then you just add, because it gives it some tackiness. But that's saying that you can't handle it really after. That's why it goes on a base, so that you can maneuver it around without losing any of the powders when you're moving it. If you look, when I first powdered it up first, when I did the first attempt on it, so you can actually see a thumbprint on the tailgate of the Stolly in one of the pictures, because where my thumb had been when I was trying to hold on to the model to take a picture. Yeah. But I was able to blend that back in and get rid of that after, when I did some more powdering on it. Obviously, panel line wash from Tamiya is a go-to. The oil brushings from, is it AK or is it, I think it's Mig Ammo. I've got loads of it here, that all in this drawer at the bottom here, and you may never use it all, but you may end up using lots of it. The thing about the powders is that you can use the powders with Decalfix from Airfix and stuff like that. You can use your decal solution. There's videos on that where you put the powder in and use the decal fix and rub it in, and then you can then use water then to blend it, if you know what I mean, to remove a lot of it if you don't want to see a lot of it, and build up in areas. So yeah. definitely one of them.
You've also got the benefit, I guess, of buying a 6 or 7 predetermined paints in a weathering set and tones and that kind of thing. So if you're doing like
washes on top of acrylic, that's why you put like a matte coat on top to protect it, or a gloss coat, and then you put the matte coat on top. So, but as I said, hairspray has been my go-to with powders. A lot of people do the powders. I think, so Ammo do powders and Revell do powders. But they are messy. You put down a sheet of paper and blend it on the paper. If it gets in your mat, you need IPA to really clean it up, isopropyl alcohol. So, but it has been and I used to shy away from it. Also, chipping fluid as well. Now, I've never, when I did that Ferguson, people say, "Oh, that's brilliant, that Ferguson tractor." I can assure you that was my first attempt of spraying a vehicle rust and then chipping fluid on top, or you can use hairspray on top, a couple of layers of hairspray. But I used the chipping fluid, which I then put through a brush, an airbrush, sorry, but I wouldn't recommend that because it does clog up the airbrush. It's one of them.
Yeah.
But I found out that the Humbrol is actually a Vallejo product. So if you get the Vallejo chipping fluid, is exactly the same as the Humbrol one. So yeah, Humbrol are bringing out some good stuff. They bring out that smart mud as well, which is quite interesting to use. It's wet. You mold it into what you want, and it dries. I did my bulldozer with the smart mud. So yeah, there's lots of products out there if you want to get into it.
Yeah.
But as I said, with diecast, when you diecast, boys, you look for mint in box finish, don't you? When you restore, that's the point of it, isn't it? To get it back to its original mint in box state as close as you can.
It depends what you want to do. I don't do restored. I do updated, if you like. So, like we were saying the other day, if you've got the yellow BMW, no, I like doing some of mine in modern day colours to give it a twist and bring it back into the 21st century, because some are initially done with colours that just didn't suit it at the time or don't suit it now. And we have got a time limit on. I think we mentioned this the other week about how far can restoration go. Well, it can only go as far as it's practically possible, and there's an age to that. I got you right. So, as soon as they start becoming all plastic bases, people are going to rapidly lose interest. So I would suggest up until about, I don't know, up to about 82, 83. Then after that, when they start doing plastic bases, is the demand going to be there? I don't know. I really don't.
There's always going to be the traditionalists.
Yeah. Well, it's easy as a restorer, or from a practical sense, the material to work with is a metal body with a metal chassis. Yes, you've got the obviously the plastic wheels, or now the benefit of being able to print your own 3D wheels and going completely off kilter to get pretty realistic wheels is amazing. But the cars that Phil's, and I don't mean this disrespectfully because I love the cars that Phil's collecting, when they never get taken out the packet, very rarely, like Phil's done quite rightly, is pin them up.
Yeah.
How many of them are going to end up? There'll always be a multitude, a feel, of those that are in good condition and are on cards. Do you need to restore them so much as, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s? Probably not.
Well, my favourite stuff, the sort of matchbox from the sort of late 50s, early 60s. The trouble you've got, if you're restoring to original, the colour palette was quite limited. And if you look at the very early matchbox, there were lots of pale sort of blues and pale greys and things like that. Now, whilst I agree with PJ that it's nice to update them, unfortunately, because if you want them to look like they did originally, I'm thinking like the Hillman Minks and the Ford Anglia. They were very pale blues and greys. It was typical of the time. You very rarely saw a bright red car in the early 60s. You know, it was nearly always sort of blues, greys, dark greens,
Whites.
that kind of thing. So changing them now is great because you can, but it's that balance of, if you want realism, then you probably got to stick with the originals, unless you're going to go, like you say, completely off kilter, and like you would do if you were restoring a real 1960s Vauxhall and you wanted to bring it up to date with like candy apple red, you know, or something, you know, something like that. So it is a balancing act, I think.
I mean, there were some. We're going off kilter, but that's fine. That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
There were some great realistic colours back in the day. British Racing Green, whatever that may be, on an E-Type Jag, was always a fitting colour. You know, so there are colours that, you know, some of the greens and browns that you used on the military vehicles. You can't get away from using them kind of colours, like. But then again, there was the fantasy ones where it didn't do it for me. You know,
but racing green is the die-cast equivalent of olive drab. You know, it's there are 50 different British racing greens.
I'm going to query that, because everybody says this.
49 then.
No, I'm going to query this because I've got 5 different racing greens up there from 5 different companies, and you spray them and they're all the same.
Yeah.
Well, there's metallic racing green as well, Moz. There are a lot of different colours.
Yeah, when it's metallic, all they've added is the
metallic fleck.
The fleck. That's all it is. But I heard this before, and I thought, you know, because everybody used to say that the Humbrol, because they got rid of it now, which is a shame, but the Humbrol Racing Green is exactly what you would see on that Lotus, and it's right. You know, you spray that, touch it. But then they rely on Brunswick Green now to use, you know, for being that range, which is such a shame. But you know, British Racing Green needs to come back. What stopped the green is that everybody used to think green on a car was unlucky. You know, that was what it was, and people stopped putting green on it. You know, but you look at, you know, the Aston Martin team. You know, I think, you know, if it wasn't so associated with Jaguar, it would be a British Racing Green on that Aston Martin on Formula One. Square tube it would have been. But because, you know, and I think when Jaguar were racing in Formula One, it was British Racing Green then, wasn't it? You know, so
maybe a fraction brighter
with the white as well, though.
It's a very
old English white.
Yeah.
Old English white used to be Triumph. It used to be Rover. It used to be Jaguar. It used to be Daimler, and they were all different colours. All essentially roughly the same, but they were different colours.
You associate silver a lot with DB, with Aston Martin as well, because of the Bond car. I love the anthracite colour on a DB. They look really nice.
Anthracite is a gorgeous colour, really.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's really underrated.
It's like that. Is it what they call it? That special green. Is it monochrome or something? Monochrome yellow? Oh, chrome oxide green and stuff like that. Here you go.
Chromite, yeah.
Yeah, zinc chromate. That's the one. I think that's a lovely colour, zinc chromate. I love it. It's a lovely looking colour.
Well, I've got the yellow and the green.
Yeah, the yellow's lovely. The yellow is lovely.
All right. Well, that went south pretty quick, didn't it? We branched off, not south. It did go south, but it branched off quite good.
That's all
got a life of its own.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it is. Which is good. It's a good talking point. Excuse me. What adhesives and paint work best for long-lasting durability? So I guess if you're making something like a diorama where you're sticking, I don't know, an example might be sticking stone to a board to create, a cobbled way, that kind of material. What's the best materials you've found for going together that will stay bonded? What's a good adhesive for a start off, I guess?
Well, the basic is PVA.
Yeah, the go-to for railways was always PVA.
Mm.
If it's water based, if it gets somewhere where you don't want it, you just get a damp tissue, damp cloth. You mop it up, don't you, bro?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, sorry, it's really chesty. The weather effects. How do you make small details like tools, signage, or debris look authenticate? Authentic, not authenticate. Where that went, yeah, probably not typing. Authentic. How do you make small details look authentic? Well, you can size your access. If you think from a 3D printing point of view, you make your signage in same size as it should be in relation to the model.
Yeah.
So if you've got I don't know, you've got a waste paper bin, it's no good having a 6-foot waste paper bin and a desk that's only 3 foot high. You've got to consider what the biggest part of the diorama is, or mainly I guess, is what you're starting with. If you're starting with a car, you've got to work your diorama around that car, around that scale, because if it's out of proportion, and it doesn't have to be a lot to look wrong. We talked about 00 scale and 1/64 scale models, figures, and when you do the railways figures, they're just that little bit taller than a 1/64 scale, and
176.
yeah, you look at them and you go, I don't know what's wrong, but there's something wrong because they are that close, and you're only talking 2 or 3 mil,
Yeah.
But they
Well,
look,
what you probably find, what will probably show them up being overscaled if you've got a building and they're stood next to a doorway and
yeah,
they're above the doorway.
yeah.
Not by much, just the heads just above the top of the door, and you're thinking, hang on, you don't get that many people over 6 foot, 7 foot.
They almost look like a grey, an alien grey. They're very thin and gangly compared to that part. Hello, Phil. Any thoughts on paints, adhesives, aim at small part details? We've got a couple of questions. We'll come on to these two next because I think it's only fair that we have to fill these AI ones. In actual fact, sorry, Phil, we'll go to that now. So we asked Phil to think of because he doesn't necessarily do a lot of dioramas. Well, none of us do from the restoration world. But I asked Phil if he'd think about a couple of graphic questions. Because that's what Phil's doing. He's doing some fantastic graphics designs behind the scenes. How can AI be used when creating a scale model diorama? Phil?
Wow.
Your baby. Your baby.
Wow. It's infinite, really. I mean, from very beginnings, even just thinking about it, I don't know how much you're all into AI and chat platforms and everything else that goes with it, but if you want to type something pretty simple into a I don't know, chat GPT or something like that, even if it's along the lines of show me a diorama with a tank in the middle of the road and this, that, and other, and it will create it for you.
But it looks shit. It really, you can tell when something. You can tell when something like there's a model and they've AI the backdrop to it. You can tell, seriously. And a lot of people are moaning about it. I run a group with about 50,000 members on. And if somebody puts a model up with some AI behind it, generated scenery behind it, they get all flappy about it. It's.
But I mean,
But it won't build the model for you.
No, well,
I don't know why anybody would want to use an AI generated backdrop in their model, but it would certainly give you your print, your instruction, your guide, your whatever you want to call it,
yeah,
to give you the knowledge of what you've got to produce.
yeah.
That's. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much saying if you're putting a kit into a competition that you haven't built yourself and you've bought from somewhere, it's not something you've done yourself. And
Yeah.
AI is a tool; it's not a means to an end.
Agreed. Yeah.
One was asking the question earlier on. Do you sketch a model before you start? AI is a good way of sketching you a model before you start, and you can look at that as a plan and go, that's brilliant. Now can I recreate it physically using, various techniques? But the other thought was that if you buy these boxes, these display boxes from Temu, like 1/64 or 1/43 scale, you can get yourself a display box. You can then go and do 3 sides of an image, put a plinth in it, 3 sides to an image, put it in the background, and all of a sudden you've got yourself a bat cave. You don't need to put a model in. You don't need to do a diorama in there. You can start off with a blank box, and it makes it easy if you've got something in there, an infill in there, to see the model better, rather than a clear box where the light's shining through and you can't photograph it, etc. So I think the AI created images are brilliant for that. Bryan, thoughts?
It's like I said the other day. I think the one thing that AI is going to be brilliant for, it's not dissimilar to what's happening with Michael, with the 3D modelling. If you use it as a tool, and I'm not talking a creative tool, I'm talking it as a tool, as a means to an end. I mean, I've been trying to get all the graphics for all the early Matchbox cars and running them through. There's about 3 different AIs that I've been using. I've now got probably half of all the original decals to the right size, to the right colour, sharpened up, HDified, for want of a better term.
Yeah.
So I think you just got to think of AI as a tool. It isn't. I don't think. I saw an interview with Jimmy Carr, who I'm not a big fan of, but he said what you have to think of in terms of AI. AI is left brain, not right brain. So it's very good at things. It's not great at art, but it is great at things. So if you've got if you wanted to recreate that logo or get it sharpened without a silver background, AI would be fantastic for it.
Yeah.
If you asked it to come up with a logo, it might not be. I mean, I'm aware that some of the lettering within AI at the moment is not perfect. You get if you ask it to say create Midlife Models logo, it'll be Middles or something like that. It quite often happens that way. But I think if you use it as a tool to achieve what you want, rather than think of it in creative terms, I think AI definitely it could be utilised as a tool. And I'm sure with the images that Phil created, that obviously have been turned into the model of Martin, and the way Michael's progressing with screens and different parts for cars, it's a tool that's definitely going to assist us. But you just have to respect its limitations.
I was, I mean, the figures that, hats off to Michael. He's just put a chunk of change of time into this.
And money, yeah.
And the figures that he's done. I mean, we saw it online on Wednesday night. He's got a full library of basically everybody in this team. A bunch of taverners, people that we've met in the past. He's worked on on car body parts, so we've now not body parts.
There's a Vaseline moment.
Bumpers, boots, doors, just from an image, have been incredible. I think the end game with that process is creating plastic clear windscreens, which I still think is not really there yet. But a lot of these are still in their infancy. There's no telling what it's going to be doing. In another 12 months, there's no telling what it's going to be doing. No. They're already feeling the effects in the States where people are losing their jobs over AI because it's saving them a fortune in personnel.
But look at it from our standpoint. We got hold of that 3D scanner. We've got all the other bits and pieces, and effectively, in the space of 6 months, that stuff is effectively obsolete.
It's obsolete.
Yeah.
So who knows what it's going to be in another 6 months?
Well, you could. I mean, a friend of mine had spent a lot of work on. He's a data manager, and he says, "I don't have to do the math anymore. I can go in and say to ChatGPT or whatever it may be, I've got a series of scenarios. Go and work it out for me."
Because you think about when computers first came out and you had 8-bit machine code, if you didn't know how to write that, that's why they came out with Visual Basic. So you just basically wrote it in a form of English that the machine recognised and converted it into the machine code for you.
Yeah.
I still think it's a great substitute. It's a great tool. It's a bit like 3D printing. You can 3D print a part for a Matchbox or a dinky corgi car, but you know it's not the original. But it's a great substitute.
Yeah. And again,
whether I'd want to go away and say it looks shit, I don't know, but it's a substitute.
I mean, look at the response, Phil, that you've had to them images that you did. Everybody's been blown away. Even
that's different. That's a creation, though, that isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not meant to look like something like a diorama or a
no. I mean, that's a fair point.
It's a one-off kind of thing, so it can't really be wrong.
But the association of getting from a photograph to something like an animation just from one still photograph, it is amazing. I think it's a stunning piece of, and you've got to have it's not so simple that you can go convert this to this for me. You've got to be able to ask the right questions or put the right statements in to get out of it what you want.
Well, I'm a bit strange like that because I actually type in my requests as I would say it. I'm actually quite polite when I do it.
Thank you very much for doing this.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know you
Well,
mean. Yeah,
you're probably find, Phil, some of this speech recognition software in AI isn't the best at the moment. It has
Yeah.
limitations.
well,
You go on your phone, you go into Google search, you ask for something, and it puts wrong words in.
yeah.
It don't recognise dialects. It don't recognise idioms in people speaking. Hence why you're probably getting a better result by actually typing in exactly what you want. If
Yeah.
you think about, also getting back to AI, if you think about how long computers have been around for 100 odd years in various forms, AI is still in the longevity of computers. AI is still in that is still in its nappies.
Oh yeah, we're going to get away from that.
Yeah.
But it's almost like hard drives and memory in a PC. It's expanding exponentially. You just can't keep up with the pace it's going at.
Well, that's the thing. If you think of it in terms of from the sort of the 50s onwards with computers, it was pretty much a plane going like that. The last few years, we've literally gone. It's almost like that now. You
Yeah,
know, you can buy something today that effectively is outdated in 6 months' time.
well, you hit the nail on the head with the 3D scanners. What we have them about 3 months,
Yeah.
and well, yeah, very rarely going to take them out of the box now because what's the point? They've had something that's put them to bed straight away.
Yeah.
And we should have seen it coming up on them. If we'd have waited another 3 months, like I said to you, like I was saying the other night, like the thing that we want more than anything else now is a HD camera. You know, to
But there
take
probably will still be
really good
applications.
high definition photos to convert from image to 3D.
Yep.
You know, taking raw images instead of PNGs.
And the worst of that, PJ, if you go out and buy a brand new iPhone, that's about as HD as it gets with
Yeah.
with the the camera software that's on
The
there.
new iPhone 16, yeah. Oh dear me.
Scary stuff.
We're all getting
Yeah.
old too quickly, I'm afraid. So the second question that Phil found on that was, how can AI be used when creating a scale model diorama? Well, just from my point of view, I'll reiterate them 2 points I made before. One, it can create a sketch that you can work to, a realistic sketch that you can work to. Or two, it can create really good backgrounds for storage boxes, and then you can work in conjunction with 3D printing. If you've got a Batmobile, you can have a background shot of your Batcave, and then you can 3D print a Bat computer and put the Batmobile in there as well. And you've got yourself a little diorama in a box. It's that simple.
I just want to know when you can do a full size Catwoman.
That might be a different subject for a
Oh,
different.
okay. Is that a different channel? Sorry, I'll leave.
That'll be,
Well,
that'll be,
Yorkies going that way already in the
yeah,
comments.
that'll be Sunday Night Live after dark.
Ah.
Phil, it was your thoughts on that. You kind of
Yeah, I mean, it's a massive database, isn't it? It's your encyclopedia, it's your research, it's everything all boiled into one place. Yeah, it can't create that diorama for you, but it can certainly show you a map of what you want. It can give you ideas of what is in that time period, what you should and shouldn't be putting in it if you want to make it realistic. Or yeah, I mean, it will do you a 2D kind of picture of what you want it to look like. You can put anything you want into it.
Yeah, I mean, I was mentioning Andy Bourne. Andy Bourne's asking it pretty much every week now when he does a new model. Create me an image of this model that I'm working on this week, and he uses them as thumbnails for his videos on YouTube, which look fabulous.
Mm.
That was really good. But then again, is that the same? Are you? I mean, we've all seen people doing thumbnails with, I think, that are pretty bloody obscene, really, but to gain clicks by doing a false image of a background, a diorama. Does that do exactly the same thing? I don't know. I'm not sure. You're trying to. It's clickbait, I guess, to a certain extent. Moz, thoughts on any of that?
I just tend to stay away from AI.
It did stay away from 3D printing.
Hang on. I've got something here in my pocket. Hang on. There we go.
No, but it was the thing. When I say that, it sounds a little bit sarky, but it did draw you in the end. The 3D printing, even that drew you in the end. You had to, so much so that you had to have a go at it, whether regardless of the success, it kind of dragged you in to have a go. And
I just feel that my setup is, I like simplistic workflow. I really do. The fact that I have to unscrew 60 different screws to change that transparent sheet.
yeah,
And you know,
talking
all
about
have,
the
you know,
on the bottom of a
and I don't know how it got a hole. There's no way on earth that got a hole because I've dropped something in it, or you know, and that's 3 times now I've had to replace them. But then that said, that when I get my Saturn 3, when that turns up, probably in the next month or so, I will I'll probably invest in one of those trays where it's all done manually, you know, done with pneumatics, if you know what I mean. So you just unclip it and it all comes out and it clips back in again and everything else, and you know. But it's just the fact that it's £19 a bottle for this resin, and I've tried to do those bases, and I've had one that just never, yeah, they don't seem to work. But I have got somebody looking at the file for me now and set it up for me so it will print, hopefully. You know, and that's the thing, like, you download these STL files, and don't get me wrong, you know, they're beautiful, they look great on the screen, but that doesn't mean it is going to print on the settings that you've got on your printer or the resin that you use and the heat. You know, there's so many 3D resin. The 3D resin is an exact science, but the problem is, you know, once you find the you know, you woe to white with it all the time. Once you find that right, the right.
Yeah, you're looking for the
setting,
sweet spot, aren't you?
Yeah, you know, and I haven't got the time or the patience for trial and error. So you tell me, you know, I understand that my machines are probably 5 years out of date, and the newer ones are a lot better, a lot more user friendly. But still, if it's not going to, if you had a printer and you wanted to print off a letter, and every single time the third line doesn't print, you chuck the printer away, don't you? And that's the same with a 3D printer. You know, if you print something, you expect it to just to print. So yeah, I've got somebody looking into it for me now, and hopefully it'll, you know. And these videos on YouTube, like I put in Elegoo, Saturn 2, what are the best settings? And they don't come up with anything. You know, they go through everything. I mean, that's right. You don't find a video exactly saying what settings you should use. You get a video explaining to you how you change your settings, and I don't want that. I want to know, you know, and I'm willing to go to the nth degree. I'm willing to let something take 7 hours to print, as long as I get fine detail. I'm not about taking shortcuts. I'm prepared to set the machine going at the temperature, leave it, and up at the end of it, I get a print.
But the trouble is, Moz, I think you've hit the nail on the head. There isn't, because it's not. If we all had a box that was exactly the same, the same temperature, we had the same resin, we had the same file, then the chances are, if we all printed it, it'd all come out the same. But you're talking about different temperatures, different resins, different ambient temperatures in the room, different moisture levels, all those different things, slightly different printers. So that's the problem you've got.
And the problem you've got is that, just for instance, just for an example, okay, just so that we get what I feel is right. So, let me have a look here. So I've got the bottles here. Is there that one there? Right, yeah. Anyway, there's another bottle here somewhere. I can't find it now. What have I done with it? There's another bottle here. But, so, I went online and the first stuff I used was ABS like resin V2. I thought, oh, that's the stuff I need. I'll buy that. Then I went back to Amazon, and then Anycubic brought one out called it ABS like resin V3. So I'm thinking, oh, they've upgraded it to version 3. I'll buy that one next. And then I went back online, and you're looking around. Oh, that's right, V3. And then they bring out this one here, which is now called Pro 2. So hang on a minute. So I've got Pro 2, I've got V2, and the last bottle I bought was 3.0. So even they can't get the blending resin right. It's like buying an Apple product in the 90s. They give it a fancy number and everything, but you don't know what you're actually getting inside the box. So until these guys stop pissing about and just have standard resin, what's the difference between 3, Pro 2, V2 and V3? I'm confused as the next man. Do you understand? These companies aren't helping either, are they?
They're not help. I agree with you. They're not helping themselves, because what they should say is something on the lines of V1 is like a rubber material.
Yeah.
V2 is like a translucent material. V3 is the hardest that you can get. V4, they should have set levels and have a description of what they are and what they do, because some of them do have purposes. It's no good getting an ABS vanilla hard version if you're making black wheels. Well, sorry, black tires. So that there are purposes behind some of it, but they're not helping themselves.
No.
Well, the other side of it is that you've got people buying 3D printers for a multitude of reasons. I mean, we're diecast and plastic model kit builders.
Yeah.
People are buying them to replace parts for cars that they can't get. That people are doing it to do Warhammer stuff. So unfortunately, there's a multitude of uses for the 3D printer. So I presume they have to produce a multitude of. But yes, it would for clarification, it would be great to say, if you're building figures, use V2. If you're making this, use V1. If you're using this, then Pro 3. It would be helpful.
Because I wonder if that Pro's for more than industrial use, professional machines.
Oh yeah, but it's cheap. Yeah, but you say that, but the 3.0 was more expensive than the Pro 2. So if the Pro is the Pro product, why is the 3 not? And then you've also got version 2. So you ain't, and that is the issue. And they're all roughly around the same price, all but pounds and pennies above each other and below each other. So you've got people competing on pricing, obviously, because it's Amazon. But this is my point. And they say grey, right? But I can assure you that V2 is a lighter grey than 3. 3 is a dark.
Oh no, there's at least 8 different colours.
Yeah, but when you've got different shades of grey, it's like you're reading a bloody novel. You expect to be spanked every time you buy it. You know what I mean? You see what I mean? You've got all these shades of grey, and as I said, that was within the first month of me buying resin.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I know there's a vanilla.
I couldn't get a bottle of V2 on Amazon again. I tried. So then I ended up getting the Pro 2, and then the 3 first, and then the Pro 2. I thought, oh, that's professional, that is, and it was £1 cheaper than the 3, so I bought that as well.
So, Moz, when you were doing your sandbags, what was the majority of those printed with?
V2, the first lot, the very
Then
first.
perhaps that's the one that you need to use with that particular printer.
You can't get it now. They've upgraded it. So V2's old hat. Now you've got Pro 2 and you've got 3. There's a 2.0 as well, I think. I think that's how it works. I had another bottle here somewhere and I can't find it, an empty bottle. But they all say the same. ABS like resin, and the only difference is the RABL code on them, and they're all 1 kilogram. They all, all the difference is those little bits at the end. V3 Pro, V3 Pro 2, V2. So, but then again, when I printed the, not the sandbags, what else did I print? Oh yeah, when I printed this, which was a file sent to me that's designed for a Saturn II, I've printed this 3 times now, and I've used all different sorts of resin, and it comes out perfect every time. So whether the guy who gave it to you, I bought the printer off, he's into 3D printing massively anyway, whether he set that printer to be perfect, and everything's set for this, and then that's it's resin is harder than PLA. You don't really set up PLA, do you?
No.
Well,
PLA is harder than resin. Resin is softer because.
No, setting it up. I'm talking about.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Can be. You like you said though. You can hit on that. If you'd have hit on that setup right the first time, you would have gone, "Oh, that was easy." If you've tried 10 different times, and you still can't get it right, then it becomes difficult.
Yeah.
But let's just round this out with the diorama question, and then we've got 3D printing coming on down the line anyway. What advice would you give beginners who want to start building dioramas? Just to
have a go. Don't be afraid of it. You'll see what works, and if it works for you, that's. I've said that with all the modelling. If you enjoy it and you're happy with it, I think that's pretty much all that matters, really. It's a different thing if you want to do like mods and go entering for competitions and things like that. Then obviously you've got to get yourself to a level. But if it's just a case of you've got a model that you want to display in a certain way, give it a go. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Treat it as a blank canvas.
Say again, Gary.
Treat it as a blank canvas.
Yeah.
But I will say this though: do not start weathering and buggering about with a model that you spent £100 on, because you will cry. Start on models that you put together for £9.99, and then I call them, we call them paint mules, don't we?
Busters.
You buy cheap models and you try a technique out on a cheap model, something quick to put together, that you've only spent under 20 quid on. But then if you get it right on that model, then you can have confidence to do it on £100 model. But once the hardest thing with this game is that if you make a mistake, it's very difficult to remove what you've done unless you strip the paint back, and that's painful. Stripping paint back is painful.
I think I know we don't want to keep going back in time, but Martin would have said, "Don't make it look too cartoonish."
Yeah.
In other words, don't go so far beyond the pale that it looks nothing like what you're trying to get. You've got to know what to call a day a day.
When you think you've done enough, you've probably done too much.
Yeah.
That's how I've always said it. So don't go. You think, well, that looks all. Basically, when I do a weathering, I think that looks all right. That's it.
Yeah.
When you think it looks all right, because in your eyes it does look all right. It's not brilliant, but what you see is all right. Everybody else thinks is brilliant, and that's where you want to be at, I think.
Final thoughts from you, Phil? Dioramas?
I agree. Like I say, it's not something I've done very much of at all. So yeah, probably will do soon. But yeah.
Alrighty. It was a bit of a tough one to get through, this one, I guess. But I'm glad we covered it. If you've got any questions on dioramas and such like, just come and join our Facebook group. There's enough people that have done them, the likes of Gary, Moz, all the boys have had a go at it in some way, shape, or form. You want to know something about models that we've done, like the BP garage, you want the measurements, things like that. It's all in the Facebook group, Diecast and Scale Models community. If you want to give a donation to Martin's charity, Animal Living, please do so. You'll find the link in the chat, I believe. I'll double check it, but it will be there by the end of the evening. We're on £400. I know we've got some more coming in, and that will be closed off at the end of March. Just to reiterate, we've got our benefactors day coming up, so if you want to support the DSMC, usually that's on the 14th of every month. There'll be a reminder, no doubt, before then. And we've just banged on 10 o'clock, so that's a result. So thanks, fellas, for doing this one. I know it was a bit of a tricky subject. We don't do a lot of dioramas. It's geared more towards the plastic kit guys, but we've had a go in the past. Sorry we haven't had Luke on, and I'm not sure what's gone south there. I'll touch base with him. So from me, PJ, a good night. Phil?
Yeah, all right.
Noz?
Good night, all. Thank you for joining us.
Gary?
Good night, all.
And Bryan?
Good night, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to spend with us.
And we'll see in a fortnight's time with a new subject. So take care. Have a good weekend for what's left of it. And we'll see you soon. Cheers.